It's crooked. Big time. Maybe we should start this over. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Hi. Marilyn Manson once said, "There's a hurricane a-blowing, and just by knowing what you know, you have an advantage to the blind morons that surround you every day." That was just a partial quote, and although Marilyn Manson is a bit sarcastic and cryptic in the lyrics in his songs, there's an underlying truth in this particular statement. We do have an advantage by knowing the causes and science of natural disasters. Today I would like to acquaint you with the steps a hurricane goes through to become a full-blown hurricane. These steps are tropical wave, tropical depression, tropical storm, and finally full-blown hurricane. First, I will describe to you an atmosphere disturbance that only has the potential of eventually becoming a hurricane. Step 1 of a hurricane formation is something called the tropical wave. It is a low-pressure area over the water off of the coast of Africa. The warm, shallow water in this area superheats the air and causes it to rise, which creates a suction effect called a low-pressure area. As a tropical wave starts to move east across the water, it starts to gain in strength and size. As air moves into the low pressure area from all directions, it begins to circle, and this is the second stage known as a tropical depression. The air begins to circle because of the rotation of the earth, and this is known as the Coriolis effect. The tropical wave that begins these events must be 5 to 15 degrees north of the equator, because the Coriolis effect is too weak right on the equator. The rule the Weather Service uses to define a tropical depression is that it must have a 38 mile/hour winds or less. As the air moves into the system, warms and rises above, it cools and falls back into the system, potentially causing a self-sustaining weather system, which brings us to our next step. This step is the tropical storm. A tropical storm will have 39 to 73 mile/hour winds. A tropical storm can be anywhere from 150 to 250 miles across. This brings us to the final step, which is the hurricane itself. The final step in this process is for the weather system to reach hurricane strength. Hurricane winds begin at 74 miles per hour and can reach as much as 200 miles per hour. It can grow in size anywhere from 200 miles across to 600 miles across. Hurricane Katrina covered the Gulf of Mexico, just to give you an idea of how big a hurricane can get. All weather systems go through a series of steps. Understanding and identifying these steps can help us to predict the next disaster, which can ultimately save lives. All Atlantic hurricanes, no matter how grand, begin the same. Each starts as a small disturbance in the atmosphere 5 to 10 degrees north of the equator off of the coast of Africa. These are called tropical waves, which move west across the Atlantic, and if the conditions are just right, they increase in size and start spinning. Some develop into tropical depressions, then tropical storms, and finally into full-blown hurricanes. There is still a mystery, though. Most tropical waves don't become hurricanes, and scientists haven't learned what the actual trigger is for this deadly set of events. We're almost there, though. And I got my information off the internet, and one of it was from an article called How Do Hurricanes Form by Derek Frankenberg. One was by Rosemary Sullivan, and one was from the Propulsion Laboratory. How do hurricanes form and how do they get their energy? Thank you.